Howdy race fans. We've got a lot of problems here. Tuesday we did a show and you didn't see the show because we didn't produce it. We got about halfway through Tuesday and the product had a software fail. So the product that I was going to show you guys is gone. Yeah, for the time being it's just on hold. I've wrote to the manufacturer, talked to them a little bit about software, but I really don't have any hopes for that because last time we had a problem like that, I was talking to a company in China about it, saying, you know, your software is crap. You know, your machine's good, but your software is junk. This was about a year and a half ago. And they just told me, you know, to reboot the machine and it should be fine or something. It was like, you know, it was like, no, you're not getting the drift here. If you don't have good software to back the machines up, such as 3D printers, then your 3D printer, doesn't matter mechanically how good it is, it's a piece of junk without good software behind it. So yeah, anyway, and there's a lot of guilt going on around that deal. Anyway, Tuesday we packed it in. Wednesday we had a problem and another product, and again problems, so you know, cancel. So now it's Thursday, and this morning I was setting up and I was going to do something, and unfortunately we had to cancel because the weather's not cooperating. So I was like, you know, just all the luck. Now also this morning I had a problem with the camera that we're using right now. Yeah, there was something wrong with it, and apparently I had to do the reboot and batteries and whatever. Got it working. Meantime, was printing something over here, and this cable broke off the build plate. Yeah, so now that's got to be resoldered, and then we got to test it and see if that works, because I got an alarm here that said the temperature was wrong on the plate or something, and then we saw this happen, so it was like, well, this is probably the problem, but there may be something else wrong internally with the power supply with this unit. This is a $30 printer from a yard sale. I'm not expecting miracles, but I am going to go ahead and fix the plate, I guess, and then we'll go with that. So what do we have else? We've got other stuff here. Yes, we do. And I'm going to come over to this one and see if we can't do something with the SK1's been really good. Really doesn't have a problem, but I thought we'd upgrade, and I decided to jump on something because, well, when it comes to 3D printing, there are some problems, especially with the plate, the build plate. The first couple of layers, I was like, that seems like that's everything. And then sometimes down the road, you also have problems with the model sticking or staying with the plate, and that becomes a problem. So this is an upgrade to try to see if we can get away from that problem. Really haven't had a lot of that issue with this, but it was just something that was available, and I thought, I need to test that and just see how it works. It's a cryogenic plate, I think that's what they tell. It uses less heat to keep the PLA sticking, or the PETG or whatever, to stick to the plate, and it allows you for incredible overhang without the model falling off. So it was like, wow, we gotta check all that out. Meantime, I'm gonna fix this when we come back. Oh. Okay, we're back. It's about an hour and a half later. I resoldered this back on and made the connections really tight and really well soldered. Also bent the cable a little bit and put a tie wrap back there on the cable so that the cable doesn't really bend at the plate. So hopefully it's fixed and that's the end of it. Now, there's a couple of lessons here. Yeah. If you're going to be running a little 3D print farm or whatever, be prepared to have to fix your stuff sometimes on the fly. We were making something this morning and trying to make another one now, and looks like we'll be fine now. But when your machine breaks down, a lot of times, like a situation like this, it was kind of like a little bit of panic, because it's like, I really want that part off the machine today. I really don't want to have to delay anything, so it was like, I got to fix it, you know, and I got to troubleshoot it. Because let me tell you about the troubleshooting. This came up and it just said that there was a problem with the temperature to the bed, and that it would have to be reset, which, you know, that's sort of like the old Windows computers. It was a total misguide. I mean, it's not really what was wrong. What was wrong was the connection was breaking to the thermocoupling on the back. In fact, the whole pin was breaking away from the solder connections on the back of the plate. The heat bed is, you know, it's one of the reasons I don't like bed slingers, is because that cable is constantly, you know, flexing and doing, you know, this back and forth. Every time it goes back and forth, it's doing, you know, one of those. And you can imagine with a 3D printer how many times that is per per unit per product or something. So yeah, I sort of had a suspicious feeling that it was probably just that, and of course when I checked it out and found that whole back end was basically just falling off, I fixed it. But if you went by the machine, you'd take the machine apart and say, well, where's the reset button or something, you know. It was like, you know, totally wrong. That's not what's wrong. It's broken connections. So that's part of the problem with troubleshooting a 3D printer. Now there is one other problem with the machine I noticed after I put it back together, leveled the bed, got it running, and that this belt here is actually too loose. So I'll tighten that up, but I'll wait till after this is finished and completed the print. The print's fine. The layer lines are just, you know, a half a human hair off from where they should be, and that tells me that this belt right here is in trouble. The bottom belt is fine. It's got just the right amount of tension on it. It's fine. You know, you can feel it. But the top one is a little sloppy, so like, okay, we'll tighten that up. But this is all part of the problems with, you know, running a little 3D printing farm and, you know, trying to pump product out, is you will have days where you will lose 15% or it's maybe a whole day to something, and depends on how much you can, you know, how much behind you are. Critically, we're not too bad right this minute, but we could get into trouble as early as tonight if we get a couple of orders coming through. Then we've got problems, you know. Now the next one, and I've got, these guys are just on hold is about all I can say. They actually should be working right now, but I wanted to show you this one because I thought this was really cool. It's an SK1 machine. It looks just like the P1P from Bambu Labs. In fact, it's so similar. It's like, I've heard people say it's a clone, you know. It's not quite a clone, but it's pretty cool, and I like it. It's really a PLA kind of a machine, or PET-G. I wouldn't go any further with it unless you do an enclosure, and you know, you don't have heated chamber. Obviously, it's, you know, open air, so like, you know, but it'll do what I need. So it's like, good. You know, I only need to run PLA on this, so the machine does everything it needs to do. But I have had some small issues, and I'll just show you. Even this size of bed, this is 256, just like the Bambu Lab one. And what happens is when you, I may as well use it. This is, I got the name wrong, by the way. Yeah, Cryogrip sheet. Apparently, these are something fancy new, and apparently there's something even newer than this that I think Bambu Labs is coming out with or something. But this is like a PEI sheet, but you can use lower temperatures to keep the PLA stuck to this. It also, when you remove the PLA from it, it won't supposedly tear the surface off on you. So it's supposed to be, oh, it's the same on both, cool, same on both sides, how about that, yeah. And there's only one problem with this particular application here, and I'll just show it to you, but the original PEI sheet, let me get it off of here, it has these little buttons right back here, these little slots that are going to sit into the screw heads on the back. There's a bunch of different ways I could fix this problem. So just before we started the camera up, I tried it, and it actually, this sheet goes right back and hits these two screws, so it kind of helps us to line it up and square it off. So it's actually not a problem. Now, Bambu Labs is 256, this is 256, so there's no reason why not to go ahead and just order the, there you go, it's the same, now let's see if I can flip that around. But you can see it's virtually same size bed for the machine, so it's like, you know, why not, you know. So I went ahead and got this on here. Now we're going to just try to see if I can square it up to the screws, bring it down there, and it's nice and magnetically stuck to the bed. Now, lower temperature on the bed is good, you know. Being able to get away with the 30 to 50 degrees Celsius for PLA is like, wow. And on PET-G, it says that you can run between 50 and 70. And I'll see if I can find the picture of this for you, but there's a picture online showing them use this plate, and the product is like that with no support, and it's sticking, it's staying with the, you know, with the bed. It was like, whoa, that's cool, but when it cools down, can you just remove it? And they say yes, you can. So that's some good technology, and I guess this is going to get better in the future. I have a funny feeling that we're going to get better and better sheets for this sort of thing. Now, it also has the same kind of grit finish as the PEI sheet. I'll be honest, I really like the old textured glass sheets for finish, but they are not the greatest for when it comes to, you know, getting PLA or something to stick to them. And I am one that says no hairspray, no glue, you know, ever. I don't want that stuff around my machines. I need to run these things night and day sometimes, and I cannot, especially hairspray. Can you imagine the overspray sticking to all your gears, all your components, your bearings and everything else, sticking to your belt and building up? It'll help attract dust and glue the dust into your belt kind of thing, and I just can't even go there. So if you use hairspray, stop. Don't do that. If you use glue, essentially I don't want that kind of a mess, and I do have an old build plate from a used machine I bought, and the guy had used glue stick all over it. I swapped the plate out for a brand new PEI sheet, and I don't have any problem with the machine. Everything's sticking fine. It's releasing the models fine. It was like you never needed to use glue stick in the first place, but it was just a matter of getting the right bed. Now these, I'm hearing all kinds of fantastic reports on these new Cryogrip sheets, and if you have a machine such as the SK1 here from Two Trees, which by the way is cheaper, way cheaper than the Bambu Lab. Okay, yeah, it's a lot less money. But if you want a P1P, have at it. But if you want the P1P but you can't afford it, you might want to take a look at this. I saw it this morning. I think it was around $310 direct from Two Trees. So you'd have maybe some shipping or something involved. I don't know where it would be sourced from at that point. But I did check on Amazon, and most sellers should go to jail because they were asking $1,200 for this machine. So yeah, you can ask whatever you want. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. But this being only $310 or whatever list price right now at Two Trees was like, if you can't afford the P1P, maybe you can afford the SK1. But be realistic. It's a PLA machine. If you and you can run PETG, but that's it. If you want to run anything above that, then you need to be spending more money or buying, an enclosed machine, something that you can control temperature and chamber temperature, you name it, to get really good results with like ABS, ASA, anything like any kind of exotic type material like that. These are not for that. They're just not, but I'm enjoying the machine and I'm having a good time. Now, because this seems like it's a different thickness and everything, well, don't really feel different, but I'm going to say that I'll probably have to do something. I've set the Z offset, but I've set it kind of high because I kind of want to see if this plate will fail, if it's too high, or if it'll just go right on by and just keep doing layer lines without any problem. Did have one little issue here, and that's the color I chose is just a little off blue from this teal, whatever color they've got here, so it's going to be a little harder to see. I really don't like that. I would have preferred to use black or something today just to see it, but we'll run with it. It's just some junk PLA I've got laying around that I don't need, so yeah, we'll run it. Now, the next thing I got to do is I got to make a file, so we'll get a benchy or a little train engine or just something basic together to make, but I've got to go into like my software and say, okay, we're going to put the bed setting at, say, 30 degrees Celsius and see if this plate will actually work at 30 degrees Celsius, which would save a lot of energy. It'll save a little bit of time. Might even make it easier to remove the model after you're done. I don't know. All of that is yet to be found out. The plate is really weird. The paper even feels kind of almost tacky to it, so it's almost like it has built-in glue or something. So it's a pretty interesting plate so far, this Cryogrip. Yeah, and I'll try to put a link in the description below where you can get one, yeah, if you're interested. Took a while, but we're started now. I've had to create a file for what we would call a cold plate, or in this case, we're only running at 40 degrees Celsius on the bed. So, yeah, the machine thought maybe there was some kind of error or something. It was like, whoa, it should be 60. Like, no, I want 40 because this is supposed to be able to work at lower temperatures for your bed, as opposed to like a PEI sheet or textured glass or whatever. So it came down to 40 Celsius and then tripped and went ahead, and now it's starting to build the model. And so far the first layer looks really good. It's a little spacey. It's I really went high on the Z because, again, supposedly it said you can get away with it with this, which I can see that as being a great benefit. But also I'm going to run another test when we get this one finished. I've got another model in mind, and I'll tell you the truth. I'll show you why. The problem is, okay, we can cut back in now. Here's the old sheet, and any build plate, especially the bigger build plates, it's even more of a problem. When you get within maybe an inch or so of the edge of these plates, a lot of times you just don't get the temperature that you have like in the center. Obviously the heat kind of, you know, transfers out on like an aluminum plate or something like that, and a lot of times it's even uneven. You'll even have cold spots on the plate. And I've found over and over again with the 3D printers, as you get close to this edge, you don't get good adhesion or sticking because you don't have that 60 degrees Celsius that you want out here. Well, this sort of gets away from that because it doesn't have to be, it virtually doesn't have to be very warm at all in order to work. So far, it looks like it's doing really great. We're making just a little engine as opposed to a benchy. So what I'm thinking is the next thing I'm going to run is I've got a model in there that I normally run, and I will run at the normal temperatures and whatever, but it always lifts off this edge here and lifts off and ruins the model because it doesn't stick. No matter how much you clean it and set it and everything, I keep getting lifting away from the PEI sheet. And what it is I just can't get the heat on these edges because the model is made this way, kind of like that idea, or it's made on an angle, and you're really close to these edges, and that's where all this, you know, it doesn't stick, doesn't stay down, you know, that kind of thing. And I clean it with alcohol and everything else, it doesn't matter. It's like it just will not stick. And in fact, I've even preheated the sheet a couple of times, and that has helped to eliminate the problem a little bit, but not completely. So I'm hoping something like this BQ Cryogrip sheet will eliminate that problem, and if it does, that would be really cool. Like I said, this is technically my very first upgrade to the SK1. There was a couple of other mods I guess I did do to this, but this is really the first major one where we actually spent $20 or something to get a different type of sheet to see if we can't print better and have it stick to the bed better, because that's the only problem I've been seeing, and it'll happen on any of these machines. That outer edge always is, you know, when you get into like those 300 by 300, 400 by 400, and you get near the edge, that's probably where you're going to see failure. And I'll even show you the product that fails. Now, here we go. This is one of the things I drew up on Fusion 360 at one time. And there's where the problem is you print it like this, and you'll always get some lifting on this edge and on this edge back here. And this one here is printed pretty good, but we don't make these on this machine anymore. The machine I'm making them on is now 300 millimeter by 250 millimeter machine by Cheedy, and it makes them this way, so it doesn't have any problem with heating each end, so they come out perfect, which is what this is right here. And also this is PET G, by the way, and there's no problem with sticking to the bed or, you know, any kind of weird lifting. They stay nice and straight afterwards, so they're a much more durable product than when we were making these. I've still got these in stock, but we've reduced the price on them. We're just trying to get rid of them, kind of thing, because they're just of no value. I don't want to trash stuff, so a lot of times I'll put them in a scratch and dent file on the internet or something, try to get rid of the stuff. Are we ready? It's finished. The plate is cooling down, but the plate never got really hot. It's just kind of lukewarm. Let's see how hard it would be to get the model off. Oh, geez. It popped right off easily, but it held the model terrific. Wow. Absolutely made a really nice little model of that. Now, this is UJOY. UJOY Bio PLA. They say it's high speed, 300 to 700, so it came out really good. Looks like UJOY Bio might have a pretty good product there. Yeah. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to throw on the bar that I just showed you. I'm going to make one out of this stuff because we'll just throw it away when we're done. But I want to see if we get lifting on this corner like we always do. And so when I come back, I'll have a bar printed and we'll just take a look and see if it lifted or not, because it's 100% sure that it will lift. But on this new Cryogrip, they say that's not going to happen, so let's find out. Wow, success. That never works. It's always lifted on this end, and we've always had problems. Also, it even sort of malforms itself as it's going up, and it's completely finished the model. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get off, but yeah, it ain't going to come off easy. Actually, the plate's still cooling down, so I guess we'll, heck, why not, right? So there's your, yep, there it is right there, and it is a beautiful model. And coming off, yep. Wow. and the sheet doesn't show any wear, any marks. There's no PLA lines or anything on there. So that, I would say, I'm going to say, let's see if we can get this back lined up beautiful down. That is a good product, yeah. So if you have an SK1, I highly recommend you get that it's from BQ. And like I said, I'll put a link in the description to where you can find it below. And this is the, I believe they call this a rough textured sheet. I think that's what they call that. And I went after that, but really it's not rough. I mean, it's a very nice, smooth kind of texturing. It's a better finish than the PEI sheet. It's actually less bumpy looking or whatever. It's still got a, you know, a nice finish to it. But this is actually a really cool product. It's a shame I got to throw this in the garbage can because we don't have any use for that. I could put it on the scratch and dent thing for odd color or something, but it is PLA. These are screwed to some wood, so once they're on the wood and they're screwed in place, obviously nothing's going to warp or get weird. But if you leave this out anywhere near the sunlight or something like that, or in a high warm area or something like that, these things will turn into a pretzel. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason why I went to the PET G is these will not, they won't warp or malfunction or something between now and when they're installed. Where this here, once it's installed, it's fine, but until you get it installed, it could do something strange on you. But this whole corner here and everything used to be really messed up on them, and it absolutely did a great job. And the the Z height is actually, with the paper, is a little on the higher side than I normally would ever use on any 3D printer. So I would say that plate is doing a fantastic job. Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah. 5 stars on that product line. Thank you for watching Coffee and Tools. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the notice bell, and we'll be back with more 3D stuff pretty soon. I've got a machine coming in, I think. Hope. Anyway, I'm out of here. Oh, wow. Over and out.